May I sit beside you, Donna? Hello. Hey, Mel. All right. Good morning, everybody. I am recording, so I'm going to get started now. So to what looks like the most poorly attended meeting that I've hosted so far. That's on me. I'm sorry. I tried the hybrid thing last week and it did not go well. So that's not happy with it. That's why. So we're going live. Hopefully everybody got the notice and attendance can come back live again. Yeah, it was really hard to get the interaction over hybrid. So before I get started with the brokerage announcements, I would like to introduce two people quickly. No speeches necessary unless you want. So I'm going to introduce Charlie, who is our newest agent here. So thank you. And Nathan, who I'm hoping will be our next newest agent. So he wanted to come and meet a few of the agents. So welcome. Hopefully it's a gripping enough meeting that you'll stay and you'll join. Okay. Yeah, no pressure. Okay, some announcements. So Saad Wali became a dad again with the birth of a baby boy yesterday. And with pictures like that out there, I'm surprised he doesn't have more kids. So he has a daughter now and a son, so he's almost there, I guess. And then Miro yesterday, what's that? Yes, that helped me. Yeah. No. Miro hosted a charity car show in our parking lot yesterday. So he's got the 1094 Racing Club. He had 124 cars show up yesterday and raised $1,000 for the Shelter Foundation. So congratulations to Miro. So that was a really good thing. He was a little bit concerned because it's the first time he's tried to host something and bring it to the office, and it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't sure if the weather would cooperate, and it was the perfect day.
20 years? I mean, 18 years?
What's that?
The parking lot?
Yeah. Yeah, but this is one that's welcome, right? Okay. So, yeah, that crack in the wall is when somebody drove into the office at one of the car shows that was not welcome. So, all right. Okay. Get your. So today, I'm not sure if you received. Well, never everybody received the address. I'm not sure if you saw it. But today, Timothy from Loken is hosting a Google My Business workshop from 1 to 2 p.m. If you don't recall seeing the email, you can search your email. It came from Alex at 9:08 a.m. on October 7th. There was a few of them, but if you search for Alex and go to October 7th, or just Google the subject, Google My Business Workshop. So it's all about the practical tips of increasing your SEO through your Google Workspace. There's no way I'm explaining that correctly, but you remember Tim. He's the one that built out all the done-for-you websites that we are offering now as well. I'm not sure, but he will be on the call, so you can put it into the chat. Yeah. So that is this afternoon from 1 to 2. Okay, get your phones out for the QR codes now. There's lots coming up. Okay, Royal LePage, how to raise money smart kids. That is this coming Thursday from 11. Oh, I don't know what happened there. This Thursday from 11 to 12, also over Zoom. So that's through the Enriched Academy that Meadowtowne offers everybody here. Next up, how to build a killer mindset. That will be live in this room on November 7th. If you recall, we were supposed to do that this summer with Jeff, but he had a death in the family, so it was rescheduled. So he will be doing November 7th. Alex will be interviewing him on his mindset. And if you remember Jeff from the last couple events he's been to, he does swear. There will be F-bombs in there, so you've been warned. But really good. And actually, speaking of which, I don't know if you saw my social media or the Borg social media, Jeff handed out 2,000 pumpkins this Saturday. So So all those boxes in the bullpen that were being cleared out, those were filled with pumpkins. So yeah, happy birthday. Yeah, so that was their big pumpkin event. Okay, next up is on November 13th, there is another Enriched Academy, and this one is on mastering credit. So these Enriched Academy sessions, I think they're every 1 or 2 months for different things, but there's lessons that you could bring to your clients, for yourself, for your kids. There's lots of stuff going on there. And FINTRAC. So all these other ones I went through, they're all optional. FINTRAC is mandatory. It's the one thing I can force you guys to do. So carve out an hour to an hour and a half on Thursday, November 14th. FINTRAC training is mandatory. If you cannot make that one, then we will have to arrange a viewing for the recording. But you have to do FINTRAC training every year. And I know sometimes people will say, can I get out of this one? Can I do this? The answer for FINTRAC is no. The fines that FINTRAC raises on brokerages and agents who don't comply is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Alex and you guys are the only ones that can go to jail. I'm okay. I can't go to jail for you guys, but Alex isn't doing time for you. He would never last a day in prison. Okay. I think this is the last one for now. We are events heavy going into the fall again. So Alex is hosting Imran Hasson on building relationships through community involvement. So for those of you who don't know Imran, he does the Food for Eden. He's on, I can't even name the number of boards for Crime Stoppers and a ton of community events. So he's really big on building a database and building a network through community. So he's a really, really interesting guy to speak to, because even though he's not in real estate, his lessons apply. I mean, database building is database building and networking is networking. Good. All right. Any questions about events? Anybody want their own events or announcements in here? Now's the time. Yeah. No. All right. Some stats. Okay, huge drop in showings last week, but the week before we didn't have a meeting, so you didn't see that there was a 50% increase in showings. So you can see that the drop off brings us a little bit below the past few weeks before that. Oh, good morning.
Sneak in.
You can't sneak in. Not with those heels.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're now at the tail end of October, so we're probably down to our last few weeks of the fall market. So the stuff that we're doing, the activity that you're doing now is really building towards the spring. There does seem to be indications that the spring market might be a little bit early. If you want to take a look at Phil Soper's release from last week and the Roy LePage release last week, it will cover some of those details. I spelled Halton wrong in this slide. I apologize. So there was a big drop off in showings. 2 weeks ago, though, the majority of the showings were for listings that were priced under $1 million. You could see like 2/3 to 3/4 of all showings. Good morning. Hey, welcome back. And this last week, it was a lot more balanced. So you're seeing a lot more balance with showings over and under $1 million. The other thing that's slowing, in addition to the showings, is there is fewer listings coming to market. So across September, we were seeing every week there was that massive influx of listings, and now there's a lot fewer listings. If you look at Mississauga specifically, the last 4 weeks, so 4 weeks ago, there was 397 new listings, 359 the week after that, 293 the week after that. Last week, there was 225. So a little bit over half of what it was just 4 weeks ago. So the pace of listings is slowing a bit.
Something?
Yeah.
There's any idea, since we are reducing inventory,
Yeah.
as the numbers are coming up, and we were probably coming from July, August, and September, that it went up really quickly and dramatically.
Yeah.
And suddenly the market was kind of full with inventory.
Yep.
Prices were not moving much. Actually, according with the statistic that it comes from July, August, even September, the prices have come down.
Yep.
According with the numbers. So those, the 2 weeks, loan that the eighth payment is basically affecting that position since we have full inventory, the prices is not very much. And with the, when we put aside onto the interest rate side, we said, yeah, interest rate are coming down. Everybody is kind of still waiting for the interest coming down. I read a couple days ago about Korea that says buyers are holding and waiting for 2025 purchase since they are ready to go ahead, but they're not. They're just expecting that, okay, we have 3 already down. There is 2 more quarter points coming, maybe 50 on October, maybe 25 or 25 in December. The forecast is that the interest rates are coming down, and that kind of holds the market. We have a couple of buyers that say, okay, but if we're gonna have those interest rates on like 375 on February, we might as well wait until February to purchase.
Yeah.
So that can be one of the reasons that why we having that slower pace since the last 3 weeks.
It could be. So, and every market and asset class is a little bit different. So you'll see on the next couple of slides that like sales in Mississauga actually increased last week, like the sales volume, but only on the freehold side. So in that, and when you're looking at the different asset classes, the condos are still slow. But yeah, people, there will always be a segment of the market that moves because they're anticipating something, right? So they lock in and they're worried about interest rates going up, so they'll buy now, or they speculate that interest rates are going down, so they'll wait. But then there's another segment of the market, they have to move no matter what it is, right? So, you know, they're falling behind on the mortgage, they're getting divorced, they lost their job, they're relocated. So those, it's always going to be different, and every geographic area is different. And the good thing in Canada is that when that happens, people can go anywhere and they can relocate. In the States, it's different, right? In the States, you can't port a mortgage. So when I mean, they have their own issues with the whole NAR and cooperating brokerage thing, but also there's people that they're being offered better jobs in a different state or a different city, and they won't move because they don't want to give up a 3% rate and move to an 8% rate, right? So.
We actually, a couple of days ago, we have a client that says, I want to sell my condo. So that's great. Let's just sit together and then I start to move. And I want to be educated because actually they sent me something that says on CTV News. I don't know if it's fake news or let's just go by the numbers, but it says new condo sales in GTH8 fall 81% in third quarter of 2024. So he said to me, well, that means like my price is probably not the one that I have in mind.
Yeah.
To go and sell. That's probably it is.
Yeah.
Just 2 years ago, your condo was probably around 1,100, 1,200 per square feet. Maybe today it might be 900, 920.
Yeah.
That's why we have to go accordingly with the market conditions.
Yeah, if it's new construction, when you bought say 2018, 2019, you might be okay, but if you bought 2022, 2021, you're probably down. You know, Pinder can probably speak to this because he's done some assignments, but are you seeing anybody making money or breaking even if they purchased new construction in the last 3 years? Yeah.
Desperately just trying to keep the losses at a minimum.
Yeah. And you're seeing it in the assignment groups as well, that people, like when people are searching for something, like looking for, typically that post starts with looking for distress sale or looking for somebody that's walking away from deposit, or so I think it's going to be pretty rough for the condo market. I think the pre-construction market, assignment market, for a little while anyway, but it always turns around. Yep.
Builder, and my client goes, silent for a day or two, nothing crazy, we're thinking about it. The builder called me every day, emailed me. Well, then they should contact the client directly. We'll give you 1% back. My client ended up deciding something else, and all I see is promos coming out. They can't move it like.
Yeah.
They get stabbed their own mothers right now. To sudden.
Well, even last year, you saw that they were giving away cars, they were giving away gold bars, they were giving away like they were going to buy down the interest rate. So those kinds of promos worry me, right? Because it's a way to artificially keep the prices up with those incentives. But what they're doing is they're in a tough spot because they have standing inventory that they have to sell. It's no longer worth the price that they had already sold previous units for. But if they bring the prices down, then the people that bought are not going to get their appraised value, and they're not going to be able to close. So it's they're caught between a rock and a hard place for a little while, and it happens, and then it gets turned around. So we'll get there. All right. Some sales. So unit sales were down by 1 unit in Halton Hills. So Halton Hills was fairly consistent. They went from 13 to 12. Milton saw a steep decline in unit sales. It was not quite half, but they went from 35 to 20. That looks bad when you're just looking at week over week, but Milton always seemed to be hovering around 20, 23, 24, 25, 26 sales per week. So 35 sales was a big week. So they're not coming down that much from a normal week. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Mrs.
Thanksgiving, then we had Thanksgiving, so it was a shorter week for 2 months.
Typically Thanksgiving is a slower week, right?
Yeah.
So because it's a shorter week. So the fact that it was an above average week was an anomaly in itself. Yeah. Okay, in Mississauga, we were at 83 sales 2 weeks ago, so 88 was a better number to look at. Condos was down just a little bit, 34 to 32 units, but freehold went up by 7 units, so that's pretty good. And there was a decrease of 10% in freehold units sold below asking. So 64% of 64% of the sales happened below asking. A week before that, it was 74%. So we're seeing not only was there more units sold, but there was a little bit more competition across those price points as well. Any questions about sales, or anybody seeing something different than what I'm showing, or experiencing something else? I saw your hand. Were you putting it up?
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you looking in Niagara, once again, as you get further from the GTA, the numbers get a little bit different. 33% decrease in showings, which was in line with the rest of the GTA. Days on market dropped a little bit, but there was a 23% decrease in new listings and a 25% decrease in unit sales. So Niagara seems to be slowing down at a little bit faster clip than when you head east a little bit. Months of inventory, just small changes in the condo market in Toronto. So East Toronto decreased. So you can see East Toronto is fairly balanced market, just hovering above the 4 months of inventory. Toronto Centre and Toronto West both increased by 0.1. In Peel, there was a pretty big decrease in Brampton, but there's still a lot of inventory for condos in Brampton. And Mississauga held pretty steady, just a small 0.1 decrease. In Halton, everything's under 5 months of inventory. Burlington held fairly steady. Big decrease in Milton, even though they had that drop in unit sales. There was a lot that came off the market. It was either suspended or canceled or expired. And Oakville, just a small increase, but nothing significant. Hamilton and Niagara both had a little bit larger change, but in opposite directions. So Hamilton dropped by a little over half a month, and Niagara increased by half a month. Freehold market, again, seems to be a totally different market than the condo market. Small increase in Toronto Centre. Again, a very small increase in Toronto East, but Toronto East is still very close to that 2 months of inventory. So that's clearly a seller's market if you have anything freehold in the East End. You still have to price it well, but it's a tight market there, tighter market there than anywhere in the GTA or Southern Ontario. And it has been all year. Toronto West is still holding under 3 months of inventory, so still seller's market there. Brampton, small change, 3.7 months of inventory. Mississauga, 3.3, so still seller's market for the freehold market in those two cities. Freeholds in Halton. Burlington dropped below 3 months of inventory. Milton is about to and has been for a couple weeks now. And Oakville's holding a more balanced market at just over 4 months of inventory. And then Halton Hills, still, they had a larger drop, seller's market in Halton Hills as well. Again, I don't divide Halton Hills between condo and freehold because they only seem to sell about 1 condo a week there. And then Hamilton and Niagara, very different. So Niagara has just been holding steady for about a month now, around 5.5 months of inventory. And Hamilton is starting to get very close to that seller's market threshold. If they drop just slightly more, it'll be considered a seller's market there. And that's all I have for stats. This is my favorite part. If you have any questions, now's the time. All right, then we get to the open discussion. Okay, backup offers. Has anybody ever experienced a backup offer or done a backup offer? No?
What is the backup offer?
So a backup offer is when a house is sold, so say it's sold conditional, but then you sell it again. So oftentimes you would have heard it, you would have seen it in, if somebody has the condition for sale of purchase or property and you have the escape clause, you can still review other offers. And you can accept other offers as long as it's conditional upon being released from the first offer. Backup offers actually came up in this office twice last week. Once on the list side and once on the buy side. So I thought it would be really interesting because we seem to be in scenarios where listings are getting multiple offers, but they're all conditional, right? And nobody's willing to waive all of their conditions. So I'm going to go over a scenario that's somewhat similar to the one that happened, but I just want to get your thoughts on how you might handle something like this. So if you have listings, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you're going to get a few offers and none of them are coming in firm. All right, so here's the scenario. You have a nicely renovated semi-detached house for sale. You're pricing it at $900,000. You receive 4 offers for the property. You send them all back. You're going back and forth. And these are the 4. This is where they all land. So there's going to be no more changes. Offer 1, $910,000. The closing date you want, $50,000 deposit. You got 2 conditions, 5 days on financing, 3 days on inspection. Kind of nice when the inspection is shorter than the financing because it means they're going to put some skin in the game and put some money out before the financing is done. Not too bad. So offer number 2, $905,000, so slightly lower, but you just can't get them up anymore. A little bit smaller deposit than the first one at $40,000. Only 1 condition, inspection for 2 days. So this one slightly lower, smaller deposit, but with the potential to go firm faster than the highest number. Offer number 3, $875,000, 6-month closing. So you're looking at next spring, $25,000 deposit, conditional for 60 days on sale of purchaser property. And then there's still 5 days inspection and 7 days for financing. And offer number 4, $699,000. You're lucky to get this number. And probably a buyer letter saying that this really nice family starter home. This is where they want to start their kids and play hockey and okay. So do any of these offers stand out to you in a positive way? Yeah. There's on a different note. So I live in Burlington and there's a new Chick-fil-A that just opened up on Appleby. And so it's in this plaza and that if you turn in, you got to go to the left, but the lineup is way too long. So there's police there and they're getting the lineup to go around the rest of the plaza and then turn around and go to the Chick-fil-A. But the way the drive-through line goes is there's thousands of people waiting to get into Chick-fil-A, maybe hundreds, but you have to drive past what is now an empty KFC that's open, but nobody wants to eat there. So they're slowly driving in front of this KFC, waiting for fried chicken, just not that fried chicken.
Call the owner.
You like offer number 2? Can you elaborate? Yeah. Yeah.
If they back out on inspection, hopefully I can still have a backup offer. And offer number 1 is still pretty good as a backup.
Yeah. You go for number 1? Oh. Why?
Because 2 days difference, big
Yeah.
You have to wait 1 day for $2,500, and then the next day. So if you get it, either like if you get the second or the first one, might as well try for the first one. Because if I ended up winning, oh, you know what, I get $5,000 more. You can get a brand new motorcycle, honey, and then it was worth it to wait the 2 days.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the second offer, we will get 3 days or 2 days is special. 2 days at the same period, so it doesn't make any difference.
But what if you take the first one and then it doesn't go through and the second one is gone? They buy a different house the next day.
Live the same way on the first one.
Yeah.
It's either like, doesn't make any difference in my point of view.
Yeah.
It's
And the reason is I want to know they've got the financing.
What, that's my question. Could I ask them to prove that they've got the financing for the second one?
Sure. It's part of negotiating if you want.
If I would say if they've got the financing in order and you're fairly confident, I like number two for the same reason. It's a little bit similar.
And you know, something I learned from Sandra, I think I learned it from you, so hopefully I'm going to give you credit here, so you should take it. So Form 127 is the form you use when you're not including conditions you need in it. You would normally have it in offer, not need. So is it you that told me sometimes you submit the Form 127 with the offer? Yeah. So that way, if you did something like that, what Sandra is doing is showing, I've had the conversation about financing. They know that they have to have financing and the risks associated with not having it. So that gives some comfort too.
Okay. But at the end, come right down to when they bring that appraised in 3 days before you close, and suddenly they don't have financing.
Mhm.
I mean, even if this, with the condition waived, they still might do this, but
I think you're under the assumption that we all know that, and I like hearing that, and hopefully you all know that. But there's a case going through the courts right now. I won't name the brokerage, but there's an agent that had suggested to his client in the hot market, his client had been losing over and over and over again, not our brokerage. So just put that caveat out there. And he suggested that the agent submit 2 offers on the same night. And the client said, what if they both get accepted? And the agent said, it's unlikely, but if they both get accepted, we just won't deliver the deposit for the one you don't want, right? And then what happened was they both got accepted. They decided that they were going to keep one, and the other one said, that's not the way that works. And now that buyer is going through court. So not everybody does know that. That agent didn't know it, that client didn't know it. So yeah, so you're assuming a higher level of you're assuming Meadowtowne standards for everybody.
so that's hard to find out.
Yeah.
So offer,
In the one that's going through the court? No, they were both firm. So that agent thought that if you didn't deliver the deposit, then the offer was void, right? So he didn't understand what signing under seal meant. Yeah. So you had a comment?
I was gonna say offer number 1 and offer number 2. And I think Pinder and everyone else would change their mind after the conversation, right? So we're assuming both of them, like, I don't think Pinder would pick number 2 if the credibility of the agent was poor. But if the credibility of the agent wasn't, then offer number 2 would be ideal if he's got, you know, depends who you're talking to.
who your agent.
Yeah, I think that makes a difference a lot of times, right? The confidence that you have in who you're working with.
When the buying agent says, well, listen, they're working with my broker, it's Raymond Guy, I've worked with him for 15 years. I'm like, okay, cool, like, we'll take it. We can take another 5,000 off if you're working with Ray.
Scott, do you have any thoughts? I value your input. You're my favorite. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe an indication of if they've already sold the property, you know, what the address of the property is. I like the listing, how they're gonna work.
So do you ask for that often when you're in offers? Do you ever get pushback? No? Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get it, got.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay, so is it safe to say, because we seem to be a little bit split, that offer number 1 and number 2 are both appealing in this case? So if you had just received offer number 1 and that was the only one, it would be something that you work with. Offer number 2, If that was the only one that existed, it might be something that you work with. Offer 3 and 4, not so much, right? Okay, so what I'm getting at here is both of them are decent offers. Both of them are something that you might accept, but you can only accept one. You only have one asset to sell. Nope. So, nope. So what I'm proposing is you can approach both to accept, right? So you can pick which one you think is the most secure, and you can accept that one. And you can approach the second agent and say, we're working with another one. It was close. Yours was also a good offer. They're both conditional. Would your clients be interested in locking in second position? And that's what happened in this case last week. So the benefits of a backup offer is you have extra security and confidence for your seller. It holds the attention of another buyer for longer. So hopefully if they're in backup position, they're waiting, maybe they're not going out and looking at something else. And it doesn't prevent them from moving on, but you know, in the spirit of negotiating in good faith, they shouldn't. And the backup offer can also be used as leverage against renegotiating the original offer. So what happened last week was the first offer, they did an inspection, and then they came back and said, you know, we need another couple of days for financing, and we want price abatement on the inspection. And it turned out the backup offer in this case was a little bit higher. So the agent was able to say, hey, listen, the worst thing you can do is firm this offer up. We can make more money if you walk away. And half an hour later, it was a firm sale. So you can use it as leverage sometimes as well. So if you're doing a backup offer, you want a condition like this. So it's exactly the same condition that you would have in the escape clause of sale of a purchase or property. So this offer is conditional upon the seller obtaining a release from a prior agreement of purchase and sale, unless the seller gives notice in writing delivered to the buyer personally or in accordance with any other provisions for the delivery of notice of this agreement of purchase and sale or any schedule thereto not later than 11 a.m. on the 17th day of October. This condition is fulfilled. This offer shall be null and void, and the deposit shall be returned to the buyer in full without deduction. And that's pretty much it. So you insert this one into the second offer that you would like to accept, and then you're covered and you have a backup offer. Yes. So in this case, they didn't really want to, so that part was renegotiated, but normally you would still expect the deposit. You might extend the inspection condition. Maybe they don't want to be out the $500 or $600 for inspection beforehand, but ideally you get the deposit and they're still fulfilling their conditions during that time.
This is good. Thanks for sharing, because, you know, although we know this, honest to goodness, I can't say that it's something that comes to my head when I'm in the middle of an offer like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, historically, you haven't needed it because you get 2 or 3 or 4 offers. They're all firm. They're way above asking. That's just not what we're seeing lately. On the other side, I don't have the scenario here, but on the other side, an agent was working with some clients, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was the agent. I was helping Erin out on the second offer. She had buyers. And they had gone to a property that they wanted to make an offer on, but by the time they made that decision, the property was sold conditional. So these were Erin's clients. And then it came back on the market ever so briefly. So we called the listing agent and said, looks like it came back on the market. Is it available? And the agent said, yes and no. The first offer fell through, but we had a backup offer, so it is now sold conditionally again anyway. So they were just changing the status and then changing it back. So in that case, I don't know that I would want to put my clients into, or Erin's clients into, a backup offer, but in that case, they could have had or potentially had the house that they had liked, but they lost out because somebody else was in that second position. So there are pros and cons. The con is
Why did you want to do it?
Because it was already done before we knew it, right? So like we had showed it, we were told it was sold conditional, and we didn't inquire about being a backup offer.
Okay.
So yeah.
I was in that situation 2 months ago. Actually, the house is closing today.
Yeah.
I was the buyer.
Yeah.
They just had another offer in a condo home in Sarnia. Yes, Arnie.
I know.
Hours.
I used to live there.
Oh, really?
Long time ago.
Nice place.
Yeah.
Very far.
Yeah, yeah.
Even, 2 hours, 20 minutes. So basically I had to explain the client, the situation, because they are first-time buyer,
Mhm.
very anxious people, like, they bought a house in Mexico and in the US, so they have a different experience. So basically I have to explain the whole thing, like, okay, because we put some condition, like the status certificate, financing,
Yeah.
So they have to wait for that, so then we can go affirm.
Mhm.
So that's been, sometimes, then we have to wait the 48 hours, for these people, but I got an intel from the agent, and she told me they are trying to sell a big house in Sarnia,
Yeah.
detached, because they are downsizing. So that was, in our favor, because now it's very low pace, to sell
Yeah.
a house everywhere. So at the end, we won because we got the release. So,
Yeah.
So we won the house, and now it's closing today.
Yeah.
The same situation, but how about you?
Yeah. It's good. So it works.
Really good.
Yeah.
I mean, the client, she didn't like the situation.
Yeah. Nobody likes it. So
Yeah, exactly. But I have to explain the whole thing, that because of this and that.
Yeah.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything to add there? All right, then I am, oh, the one thing I wanted to add about that condition, so the condition that we just put there, make sure that the condition you're adding expires after the conditions in the first offer. So you don't want it expiring while the other people still have a chance to do their due diligence. All right, that's all I have. The mortgage oracle is up.
Thank you for